Hi, I'm Ben Fulton from Redwitch, and I am really excited to share with you my latest pedal design, the Synthotron III. The Synthotron III is an analog, four-voiced monophonic synthesizer with sample hold, an envelope filter, and an analog chorus thrown in. This pedal can do a whole lot of things. It's really fun, and there's a lot of controls to get through, so let's get started. So looking at the synthesizer section of the Synthotron III, I'm going to go through a brief overview of what each section does with some little examples. So the synthesizer section of the Synthotron III comprises the first 5 strips: the green, the yellow, the orange, the light red and the dark red. The first strip allows you to set the gain, flux and dry signal. So let's just turn the Synthotron III synthesizer section on. We engage the left hand foot switch, and then all you're going to do is you're going to bring up your volume on your guitar to maximum. You're going to have the neck pickup, and then you're going to play a note until, as you turn that gain control, until you hear, and then just a fraction more, you'll hear that the synthesizer gets triggered, and so it starts. At the bottom of the green strip, you've got the dry control, which allows you to add dry signal to the synthesizer sound. So I'll turn that right up. Turning the synthesizer section, the levels of the synthesizer voices down. That's the dry control all the way up. I'll bring that level back. And then you've got the flux control. So the flux is a universal control. When the flux control engage switches to the left, it tracks really well. It's a very staccato sound. When you engage the right-hand position of the flux control, it allows the decay section of the 4 voices to engage. So each of the 4 synthesizer voices, the yellow, orange, light red and dark red controls, they've all got a decay level control and a decay switch. So when the decay switch is clicked to the left, then it allows you to determine how long the note sustains after you finish playing it. So you set the flux engage to the right hand position, and suddenly you're able to use the decay function of each of the 4 voices. When it's in the left hand position. Now, with flux engaged, the flux dial allows you to choose how the way the note transitions from note to note, from a high note to a low note and vice versa. So if I play the note, you hear that whee. And if I increase the flux control, turning that flux control counterclockwise causes that transition to be much quicker. Now, the 4 voices of the Synthotron are in each of the strips, the yellow, orange, light red and dark red. The same controls for each of those 4 voices. The only differentiator is the toggle switch at the top, which is a 3-way toggle switch, which allows you to choose the pitch of that voice. So let's just look at the first strip, pitch 1. I'll go through the other controls and then we'll come back to those toggle switches. So each one of the strips has got a decay level, which, as I just showed you, allows you to determine how long the note takes to decay. So if I just engage just that first voice, and we've got the decay on. If I increase that decay time, through to a really short one. When you have the decay setting, the toggle switch in the right hand position, it gives you an infinite sustain almost on the note you play until the next note. So I can turn the guitar volume off, I can go away, I can make a cup of coffee, come back, and it should still be going, or some of it will be going. And that will continue until you play the next note, and then the next note. And what's cool is if you use that on one of the voices, but you have the decay option set on the other three, and I'll show you what that sounds like in a moment. So those three controls, decay, level, decay, and the level, are repeated on all of those four channels, those four voices: the yellow, the orange, the light red, and the dark red. The differentiator is at the top, the toggle switch. So in the first voice, it gives you the option of playing the fundamental note. I'll just turn the decay off, or one octave up, or two octaves up. So that's what happens in channel 1. Channel 2 is based off the note that channel 1, pitch 1, is determining. So whether it's unison, an octave up, or two octaves up, the orange channel toggle switch will choose an octave below, two octaves below, or three octaves below, whatever the note that you're playing in the first voice is. So for instance, with the pitch 1 set to unison, turn that level down on channel 1, voice 1, and bring it up on voice 2. One octave down, two octaves down, three octaves down. And then of course it's fun when you start combining the two things. The third voice gives you the option of an octave down, or in the middle position, it gives you the option of either a perfect fourth or a perfect fifth, depending on what the fundamental note or the other notes you're choosing with the other voices are. So when I bring in voice channel 1, the first voice, which is going at a unison, we get this. Then when it's in the left-hand position, it gives you either a major second or a minor sixth, and that sounds like this. Then the final of the four voices gives you an octave below, two octaves below, or three octaves below the note that's been chosen by the pitch 2. So whether it's going from the octave down, then it will give you an octave below that, two octaves below that, or even three octaves below that, which is four octaves below the note you're playing, or those octaves off the perfect fourth or perfect fifth, or the major second or minor sixth. So that's what it does, and this is how it sounds. It gets fun when you start bringing in all the different voices. Just to bring the volume up there. It's better. You have to have the volume up full, or otherwise it won't track well. Have it so that we are engaging the decay, and what I'm going to do is with the lower note, the lowest, I'm going to set it to the infinite sustain. So everything else will sustain and then decay, but the voice in voice 4 is going to last. So that's a brief overview of what the synth can do. There's 4 voices. You can have control over the decay time. You can have it set to an infinite sustain. You can have it so it's just staccato, but it will track really, really well. You can have control over how the notes shift from one to the other. There's a lot there to get into and to have a lot of fun. A couple of things. It's got a dry a dry output for attaching to another amplifier for an unaffected signal coming out of the synth. There's a control voltage in for the synthesizer, so you can run another synth into this if you want to. It's also got a trigger on pitch 1 on the yellow first voice, so you can externally trigger that as well. So that's the Synthotron section of the Synthotron 3, the synth section of the Synthotron 3. The envelope filter sample hold section of the Synthotron 3 is all comprised in the blue strip. There's 4 controls, and let's go through what they do. You engage it by clicking on filter, the blue light illuminates. At the top you've got mode 1. In the right hand position it becomes the standard envelope filter. And the frequency that it hits at is determined by the frequency control. When I click mode 1 to the left hand position, the sample hold kicks in. Got a velocity control for that, so I can go really fast or really slow. When you are in sample hold mode, you can click mode 2 to the right hand position, and that allows you to attach an expression pedal, which allows you to manually sweep the frequency that the envelope filter is producing, which is pretty cool. It's like a super turbocharged wah pedal at if you put your guitar into some device that you would use at a crazy synthesizer rave, which is kind of what the Synthotron definitely could do. So that's the envelope filter sample hold section of the Synthotron 3. The last section of the Synthotron 3 is the chorus. It's an analog chorus. It uses an MN3007 Bucket Brigade chip. The core of it is the same as the Empress Deos. It just has slightly less controls because the Synthotron 3 has got enough controls already. So we engage that by depressing the right hand foot switch, and it sounds like this. The top control is a mix. When you turn it fully one way, just dry. Turn it fully the other way. Whole lot of modulation in there, almost in the realms of vibrato. Bringing it to the halfway point is where I like it. You've got a depth control, how deep the pulse is. You've got a voice control, so it allows you to choose a clearer, brighter sound or a warmer, darker sound like a C one. And you've got velocity, which can go really fast. Or really, really slowly. And that's the chorus section of the Synthotron 3. You can use all 3 effects independently, but things get quite exciting when you start utilizing them together. So first of all, let's take the synth sound and add some chorus to it. to change the pitch on pitch 1 up to an octave above the fundamental note. I'm going to go 2 octaves above the fundamental. The thing with the synthesizer, with the Synthotron and the tracking is, if you can pick as cleanly as you possibly can, so it's only getting 1 note at a time, because it's monophonic, you put 2 notes into it and it starts getting confused, which actually sounds quite cool. But the thing with the Synthotron 1 and 2 is that their tracking wasn't that great. This does track a lot better, but using the neck pickup, using the volume up full, and being careful with your articulation will get you the best tracking that you can that you want, or as close to it. It's not perfect though, because it is an analog synth. If you want perfect tracking, get something that's digital, and it will be exactly as you would expect. But the thing with analog is that there's a feel, there's a sponginess, there's a tactile interaction that you can't get with digital gear. Let's add some of the envelope filter to the sound of the Synthotron 3. Now, if I set it so that the 4 voices have some decay, and of course you can determine where that hits on the envelope filter by adjusting the frequency control. Right through to, if we increase the decay time, going into sample hold mode though, one thing you can do with this is you can set the 4 voices onto infinite sustain mode. Play 1 note. And that is the Synthotron 3. It does a lot of stuff. This has hopefully given you a bit of an overview of what it can do. To give it a proper overview would probably take several hours, but it's super versatile. It does a bunch of really unique things that nothing else can do, and I'm super excited to see what happens when it gets into your hands. The idea of any pedal ultimately should be to inspire creativity, to inspire people to create sounds that haven't been heard before. So my hope is that when you get this pedal, that something is inspired inside you, that you're able to create something new that hasn't been heard before. Or if you just want to set on the infinite sustain mode and get the sample hold filter going and having a private rave party in your bedroom, well, that's totally cool as well. Thanks very much for checking this video out. I hope you're super well, and I will talk to you again soon. Cheers.